Hello, welcome back to my workshop. Right, today I'm going to, I have a project that at the moment that will need a motor, and I will have another project that will need a motor. This is a motor I bought from a scrapyard for £5. So I thought it's a single phase, quarter horsepower, there or thereabouts, quarter or third of horsepower, and I'll just show you roughly how I assess it in the scrapyard. And then we're going to get it running, so I'll show you how to do that. Firstly, first thing you want to do is read what's on the plate as best you can. As it happens, because it says Crompton Parkinson, reasonably certain it's something like the 60s. Claims the RPM is 1425, 200 to 220 volts, and somewhere down there it says 180 watts. Single phase. I've had a close look in the back. It does have a centrifugal switch. Somewhere hidden in the back there will be a small capacitor. You don't need a very big capacitor for a motor of this size. So when I'm in the scrapyard, what I will do is try and spin it, and it spins, and try and see if there's any play in the bearings, and there isn't really. So that's okay. Now it's home. What we want to do is quickly open it up, and in this case, reasonably modern, it has Phillips screws here, and this particular case can come off very easily. First thing I'm going to do is quickly check for continuity across the coil. Now, I can do, you can't do it off of these two because they're covered in crud. If I just go and stick that in there and onto the wires, we have continuity. And that, if I just prop that up there, you can see that. You can go for that again. On resistance, you can see that's about 5 ohms. Which for this size of motor is fine. Now if I then switch that up to meg ohms, what we're going to do is see how much earth leakage there is. And that measures about 3-ish meg ohms. Now that's not good. I suspect it's just damp in there. So I will get a bit of a shock off this. I will have to go and take it apart and dry out the coils, but that will be a separate video. So what we're going to do first is we are going to go and pull these 3 wires out and wire it up. Let's see if is that close enough? Now that looks, bear with me 2 secs. Let me grab a socket set with an appropriately sized socket. Now these aren't tight, so it doesn't matter that that's a loose fit, because it's probably an imperial size and I'm using a metric socket, but we don't need those particularly loose. We certainly don't need them all the way off. That one doesn't want to play nicely. Whoever took this motor out just cut the wire off very, very short, which is a bit irritating. Hold on. using a magnet to get that washer off, because I don't particularly want to drop that, and pull that wire off. Okay, that's interesting. It has a nice little brass cup to go into, which we probably are not going to make use of, but we'll see. Oh no, we will, why not? Now if you want to swap over the polarity of the motor, or which way it spins, you would have to work out, there's only 3 wires in here, you'd have to work out which, you'd have to take these wires off and work out which way they go. That's not an easy thing to do on a motor like this, so let's just hope it spins the right way. Let's disconnect the earth. Come out all the way as well. Now, just look in there. Right, so you have a lead. I'm going to put a plug on it and just see if that's going to, it isn't going to work there. How much spare wire do I want? Probably about that much. Just going to nick the outside. Not all the way through, and if you bend it hard you can break it, pull it off, and with a nice little Parkside jobby. Right. Helps if you wrap the wires around the way you do them up, that way it tends to pull them in. Right. And now hold on, let me think. it doesn't actually matter which way round you wire these on a induction motor. It's the relationship between the starting coil and the other coil. Kick that round there. Oh, could actually do with a bit more, so just kick that round. Right, let's go and put a plug on. If that's any more. Right, other end. Where's the plug gone? There we go. Right. Smaller Phillips. There. This is wired up for 13 amps, which is quite a lot more than that will need, certainly more than it needs running. Right, so let's just see how long we need. Need about that much clear. Let's go and score around again. don't need as much. Okay. These wire strippers are an absolute godsend. Didn't get enough on there. There's again. Make sure you don't have stray strands sticking out, because that is what generally causes problems in plugs. Too much sticking out there, I'm just going to trim that off. That's those two in, and now I really need to cut that short. Just trim that off there, push that through a lot. Right, let's get that external of the cable through enough. Right, main thing I want to check very quickly is that we have continuity on Earth. You can find a bit on the body. Show you that. And that we don't on live or neutral. And we don't, so we're good. Right. Cap on a plug. Now this thing has oil caps on it because it's a very old motor. So I am using Mobil Nutto 32 as bearing oil. And I'm going to go and chuck some in the bearing caps. At either end. And then what I'm going to do because I'm not a lunatic, is I'm going to go and plug this into an switched extension, which is currently switched off, and turn it on and off from there. And where did I put my... No, can't find them. Right. Does sound a bit shaky up that end. I wonder if that's something to do with that. So what we're going to do is quickly whip the pulley off. I also incidentally touched the body while it was running just to see if it was live. Yeah, that pulley's loose. Right, let's try that again. Okay, well, my suspicion is that motor will run and it will run fine. I will, however, in another video, pull this motor apart and we'll have a look for where that is. Let me just do that again. Might well be something to do, I'm not sure which end that noise is coming from. Tell you what we will do though, very briefly, I'll go and hunt that down, is, see now, chuck that on that way round, maybe it won't, I'm just going to go and cut a little bit of this off and do a speed test. So I've got a rev meter here. Oh, that's just come straight off there, isn't it? Right, there's 2 secs. Just try that. that fell off and it was picking up extraneous nonsense, but it comes out about 1490 on that. So there we go. I now have a almost working motor. I will want to go and pull it apart and get to the bottom of what's making that noise. There's probably just something just being knocked around inside the housing, but we'll do that in another video. That's how you get a motor running, or at least how I assess it and get cheap motors. That particular one is probably going to be running this linisher, which is at the moment, I bought for a couple of quid scrap. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. It really helps.